Hey friends, what's going on? This is Rick Bakas. I'm here in San Francisco at a restaurant called Moringa. We're in the back room here and we're tasting some ports. I'm with a man who needs no introduction at all, but I'm gonna introduce him anyways. Bartholomew Broadbent, good to see you again.
Great to see you, man.
And you may have heard of Bartholomew and his father, Michael Broadbent. The name Broadbent is synonymous with the world of wine, from Christie's auctions to Decanter magazine and everywhere else in between. So we're looking at 4 different styles today. We really want people watching to understand what it is that they're buying in the store. The first bottle is a late bottle vintage. Tell me about late bottle vintage port.
Well, late bottle vintage port is a port that's been aged for 4 years in a bottle. But when you're looking at a store and trying to figure out why you want to buy port, what is this drink? Basically, port is a delicious dessert wine. Goes very well with chocolate, goes very well with cheese, especially blue vein cheeses like Stilton, goes very well with pecan pies, goes very well with all sorts of different desserts.
Yep.
So late bottle vintage and vintage ports are the 2 deepest, darkest colored ports. There's a difference between a vintage and a tawny port, the vintage being on the right and the tawny on the left. You can see vintage and late bottle vintages are opaque black in the middle and then sort of ruby red on the rim, whereas the tawny ports tend to be more browner at the bowl and then more yellowish on the rim. You can see that's the function of the difference of age.
The great thing about late bottle vintage port is it's affordable, right? And if you've got company over and you actually like the people that are over, you might pull out something like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, vintage port is really for special occasions, and it's at its best when it's aged a long time, although a young vintage port with an intense chocolate dessert is ideal. But this vintage port is only 2% of all port, so the supply and demand is great and the prices are high. This is made in bigger quantities. Late bottle vintage is made in bigger quantities. The style is very similar to vintage, but you can spend less, a third of the price, and enjoy it just as easily.
Now, if this is what you call a ruby style port, where you put it into the bottle at a younger age, you move over to this Don Antonio, which is more of a tawny port, you start to get a little bit more of the faded color. And for people who are watching and they don't know the difference between ruby and, say, tawny, what's a tawny port?
Yeah, so as wines age in a barrel, they lose their color and they become lighter and they basically become a different drink. And the applications for a tawny are different. For instance, with a tawny port, you might want to put it with nuts. You can also serve it as an aperitif very easily. You can chill it, you can put it on the rocks. But really, tawny ports are better with the sort of lighter cheeses or the pecan pies of the world, or things like that. The Ferreira Don Antonio is right in the middle. It's the Quinta de Crasso late bottle vintage is 4 years of age when it's bottled. The Ferreira Don Antonio is 8 years of age, and then the Ferreira 20-year-old is 20 years of age. So this is somewhere between a ruby and a tawny. It's got a beautiful balance.
You start getting to this level, a 20-year tawny means that on average the port has sat in the barrels for 20 years, and in this case up to 40 years, and that's when you really get this beautiful nutty nectar, and that is what I'm talking about right there. This is when you really like the people that come over, you pull that out, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me the Ferreira Duke de Braganza 20-year-old tawny is the ultimate highest quality port. The only thing that can really eclipse that is perhaps a mature vintage port, something that's at least 30 years of age. But if you're having a very special dinner party or very special friends or just your dates coming over for a drink, just give her the 20-year-old tawny.
Ah, there you go. Well, now I want to get to a wine that might be a little confusing for people when they go out into the grocery store or their liquor store and they see all these ports and then they see the Parmesan Madeira along the bottom. That is cooking Madeira, but Madeira is actually a wonderful dessert wine, and I would even argue the ultimate dessert wine. Goes with everything.
Yeah, forget domestic Madeiras, which have nothing to do with Madeira whatsoever. True Madeira is a wine which is sublime. It's rich and it's concentrated and it's acidic, and it goes very well with just many types of desserts. It's the most versatile wine. It can go with almost anything because of the high acidity and the fact that it's a dry wine on the finish. It's a sweet wine, but it's got a dry finish. So you can put it with any dessert. But
even that cookie right there? With ice cream?
Even with that cookie right there. You can put it with anything. It really doesn't. You could put it with balsamic vinegar. That's not going to kill it. You can put it with any citrus thing. It's not going to kill it. Any sweetness thing. It's not going to kill it.
And what's even better is Madeira never goes bad. So you open that bottle, if we drank this a year from now, it'd be totally fine.
Yeah, but usually it's drunk in 10 minutes in my house.
And you're looking for a second bottle, right?
Yes.
Nice. All right, well, Bartholomew, thanks for coming by and walking us through all the wines. And thanks for everybody for watching. I hope this is helpful. Leave us some comments. You can find Broadbent online, Facebook, and you can also find some of these nationwide. So thanks for coming by. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Who likes bacon? Yes. I'm going to list off a couple of desserts. You tell me yes or no. Does it go with this dessert? All right. Creme brulee.
Yes.
Chocolate molten cake.
Yes.
Bananas Foster.
Yes.
Ice cream with caramel.
Big time, yes. Pour it on top too.
How about donuts?
Yes.
Chocolate.
Yes.
Bacon wrapped baklava.
Yes.
Pecan pie.
Yes.